In the film, I'm Willy Adkins, and I am a co-writer, director, executive producer, and probably a bunch of other little things in there that I'm not going to just ramble off crazy. And I also took part in casting for Headline News.
I'm Justin Romine. I'm the director of photography, production, do a little bit of everything. I'll be editing as well. And I worked with Willy previously on another project called What They Say, and we've been talking for quite a while. Did another short film together that was quite ridiculous, called Ghost Humpers, but that was fun.
So what made you want to make a horror movie, first of all, and then what attracted you to the original story that you based it off of?
I wanted to work with you. I wanted to work with somebody who I knew as an author. And as my first dabbling, display as director, I kind of wanted to take somebody else's story and try to bring it to life rather than concentrate on my own. The writing, creative part, I have ideas, but putting it on paper is kind of rough for me. So I knew I wanted to find a good author to write something great, and wanted to make our own adaptation of something else.
Well, I know that sometimes it's hard to take a story and translate it into the screen. So I mean, what were some of the things you might have had to change to make it smoother on screen, or add or detract?
Most of that work I dropped on the lead writer, Jason Sullivan, thank goodness, because that can be a challenge. It's kind of funny to read something, you see it in your head, but to put it in a screenplay, it's a whole other world of different actions that take place that you just know happen in your head when you're reading the short story, but it's not outlined. Do this, do this, do this. And something else is a little different is on a screenplay, everybody's, their actions are all outlined for them. If it's a regular, the way it was as a short story, they interpret it in their own way. And they kind of fill in their own pieces, just kind of outlines things a little more in depth. And we also add a lot of dramatic elements that you might have in your mind when you're reading the story originally as a short story, but when it's put on film, you're able to actually see it.
Well, let's talk about this twist ending now, without giving too much away. What do you think the twist adds to the story, or was that just something you wanted to throw in there?
Yeah, I wanted to add a little more climax to the story. That's something else that film seems to be known a little bit more for than normal writing. I wanted there to be some kind of shock, and then another shock. So you think you got your climax, but I wanted to give you something even more at the end.
How did you go about finding the actors and actresses for the film?
Casting. We ran casting calls on Facebook and several other miscellaneous websites. We auditioned, I want to say close to 30 or 40 people total. We had a few actors in mind for certain parts, but every part we auditioned multiple people for regardless, just to see if something else might turn up. And the casting, the cast we involved is probably the biggest selling point, I think, for this entire film. We have some phenomenal, amazing people.
So when will this film be premiered?
It'll premiere at the Chicago Horror Film Festival last weekend of September. It'll be Saturday during the festival. A time I don't know exactly. That'll be determined as we get closer.
Each of you, what is your favorite scene from Headline News?
Anything that Roy is in, he steals the show. He's absolutely hilarious. We like him so much that he's keeps showing up in other scripts we're writing.
Yeah, yeah. As you know, the one character name we kept was Roy from the original short story. My initial idea that I was giving Jason, I want to change his character to make him more Chris Farley-like initially, and he kind of strayed away from that and got to the idea maybe we'll make him Johnny Knoxville-like or something, and then we kind of found this happy medium whenever Michael Schmidt auditioned. It was him, and it's a character we're going to keep alive through other films like Zombie Clowns, and he was in our Ghost Humpers film also as Roy. So the one character in the original short story that you wrote, we made him an animated funny bastard, and he's just going to live on in several films.
Yes.
And what is your next project that you're going to start on?
Justin and I are working on a few ideas already. Our largest one we're working on is called Zombie Clowns. I've never been a huge fan of zombie films. I've had to watch a million of them to screen them for miscellaneous festivals, and I never really wanted to make one because there's so many out there, and they seem a lot of the same. However, I've always liked creepy dolls, and clowns have always fascinated me even as a kid. And I figured if I was ever going to do a zombie film, I was going to use an element that I really, really did appreciate, like clowns. And putting those two together, I just don't see how it can go wrong.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
We've been writing diligently.
Yeah. It's getting a lot of attention, and we're still writing, and we kind of have plans to let everybody follow us through the whole progress of, we wrote 3 pages today, and we brought this person in as another character, et cetera, so they can kind of follow a story now of us building a film, and then get to see a final product, a whole other story on top of that.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for speaking with me.
Absolutely.
And thanks for making the film.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving us a great story.
Heck yeah. Enjoy it.
Take care, guys.
All right.